Sunday night. No, it's not that early Sunday night. Hello, hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to the stream. Ooh, ooh, two games this past week where we've lost an incredible amount of time. Uh, 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 yeah. Um, just bad luck. I was thinking about it overnight. And I'm like, God, like the worst parts is that not only do I have to redo those sections, right, in these games, but then that just means like most of the time it's just like extra streaming time. What was the other game? So Of the Devil, which we'll be playing tonight, is the first one, which I think you already knew. I'll get to Of the Devil here shortly. The second one was yesterday, after what was it, 3.5 hours to almost 4 hours of Nier Automata, the game crashed. That happened yesterday. The game crashed. And I then remembered after the game actually crashed that it does not autosave. So basically, I lost about 3 hours or so of progress in Nier Automata yesterday. That I've not recovered. So next time we play Nier Automata, I'm gonna have to basically do, basically 3 hours of stuff I did. Whenever I have the heart to yes, I'm pretty sure the race thing was lost. A lot of side quests were lost. Because that was a stream where I did some story stuff, but yeah, a lot of side quest progress, which is very upsetting. But we'll talk about Nier Automata whenever I have the heart to boot it back up, which will probably be sometime this week. It's just a bummer. It's just wasted time, honestly. So yeah, really unfortunate. Now, Of the Devil, if you recall, last stream of the Devil, I learned and quickly remembered that two things. One, there's also no autosave, which I did know that fact. But two, the thing I kind of didn't remember was that when you lose all your chips in the mode that I'm playing, you lose, it just boots you, it's game over. Boots you to the thing. So, honestly, I will say, since the last stream of the Devil, it took me maybe not even half an hour to just get back to where I was, because I was just fast forwarding through dialogue and then basically got back to where I was. So it was not the hardest thing ever to actually do. So while I was annoyed I had to do it, it was not the hardest thing, thankfully. Let me get this on screen here. Yeah, losing like 3 hours of Nier Automata progress sucks. I wanted to scream into a pillow immediately, but then I switched to Titanium Court for a little bit, and I just felt annoyed. Because, like I said, the worst part is not having to redo it. It's also that, and then also knowing the next time you boot it up, you're most likely not going to be seeing anything new. You know what I mean? So, in saying all that, tonight, we're probably not going to... We may, unless this episode is about to end, because of that, I think what I'm going to try to do is play like an hour and a half or 2 hours of this, and then an hour and a half to 2 hours of Nier Automata. We're not going to get back to exactly where I was in Nier Automata, but unlike this, I think I'm going to want to... Like this, I didn't want to redo the parts I already did on stream. Nier Automata, I definitely do... Just something in my brain makes me think like it makes more sense to do it on stream. But again, I'll only be able to play like an hour and a half or 2 hours of Nier Automata, and just to try to make a dent in the progress that we lost. Does that make sense? So then the next time I boot up Nier Automata, I think, then I would hopefully scratch new stuff soon. But after I play an hour and a half to 2 hours of this, there's a small chance that I go, I don't have the heart still to boot up Nier Automata. Maybe we switch to something else. I don't know. But it's all just, bummer, man. Not a good weekend for me for video games. I took multiple L's, as they say. As they say. Okay, So, if you also recall, so when we lost everything in this current episode of the Devil, right? We got a little bit into here. I didn't get to the exact point I was, but just so that we kind of have a little bit of a runway into getting to the new area, I basically got to the point where Morgan calls the one worker to the stands for examination. I'm terrible with names, so I don't remember, but obviously you can see my save, so even if everything goes to shit, we now have a save. Everything is fine. And I also have a nice, decent thing of coins. Also, I will say for the record, I obviously did better in the minigame sections here during the trial, but just to keep things 100% consistent, since we didn't see this on stream, when we talked to the DJ guy, the music man, I still tried to act cool and took the penalty for that, because that seemed like I should keep that consistent with the last time when we played a couple days ago. I know this is very confusing, but I'm staying on the up and up here. Is that the only thing that would have changed from technically the last time when we lost it all is obviously the amount of time it took me to get to this point because I sped through all the text. And then obviously slightly better performance during the trial mini games here. But narratively, I don't know if it changes anything, but narratively I've kept everything the same. I think that's squares everything away. If I ever do anything off stream for a game, I always like to try my best to perfectly describe exactly what I did do off stream, so that there's no inconsistencies. Everyone can possibly be on the up and up. Everyone understands. There's no confusion on anyone's part, except my own constantly. Morgan says, me to call my first witness. No. Now, what voice did I give 84? You want to keep going after that? Serra. Okay, so all the characters. Here we go. What are you doing, counselor? Also, I'm going to move my mic down slightly. There we go. That's a good mic noise. I'm getting in a relaxed position. Just calling the ultimate silver bullet. Rock solid slam dunk witness a girl could ask for. Jess. Jess was her name. Jess. Yes, her. Great. Everything's great. Is here good? Does it matter where I put my hands? Miss Starling, thank you for coming here today. Of course. Whatever I can do. What is your relation to the deceased? I was his executive assistant at Noble Electronics. I would arrange his meetings, coordinate communications between him and other departments. That sort of thing. Ultimate silver bullet? Starling's the only play I have right now. The only stalling tool I have left. Oh yeah, so let's do a quick recap. We started the trial in the last stream of this. And remember that Serra, the android partner partner in crime is what I was trying to say. But our android friend is trying to decode files slowly, percentage-wise. It's building up, and Morgan's just trying to stall tactic here, so that we can get access to the files, and hopefully that's like our ultimate thing we're betting gives us success. So Morgan's kind of just like floating around in the trial here. So Starling's the only play I have right now. The only stalling tool I have left. For now, I should just focus on getting as much information from her as possible. Whether or not it's useful, it'll at least buy me some time. While Jess was being sworn in, Serra mentioned that the hard drive's about 60% decrypted. Considering the rate Serra's gone at so far, there's maybe another hour left. I might be able to stall that long, if I talk real slow. I'd like to ask a few questions about Dr. Asher. Please answer them to the best of your ability. Right. Dr. Asher was a well-known public figure, but was he well regarded professionally? Of course. Dr. Asher's work set the bar for the entire automated dependent world. Stay focused, Spearman. You say you coordinated his communications. Were there ever threats? Did people ever express an intent to harm him? Objection! Calls for speculation. Intent? I'm feeling like that's gonna be, sustained. Did anyone ever threaten him? There were times when he was the focus of negative attention. How so? Dr. Asher was a favorite subject of many conspiracy theorists. With all his contributions to the field, it was easy for them to make claims about his influence. They'd say that his work was plagiarized, or that he was hiding illegal subcommands in the technology he helped develop. And people would contact him about those conspiracy theories? Relevance. Whether or not people wanted to kill him? Well, withdrawn. Miss Starling? People would attempt to contact him, yes, but their messages were always too vague for the police to take action on. They would say he belonged in jail, or that he couldn't avoid the truth, or that someone should do something to shut him up. Did they ever talk about hurting him? Yes, but I always turn those messages straight over to the police. Yeah, I'm seeing that on the record. Yeesh, who writes this stuff? All those cases have long since been resolved, Your Honor, and none of the parties involved have had contact with there's that thing where I see the word David and I think of the word doctor. With David, Asher, and yours. Police take harassment very seriously. Something you want to add, counselor? Just clearing my throat. May I continue? You worked with David Asher for many years. Did you have a relationship outside of work? Did you ever talk about anything besides professional concerns? Sure, we've gone out to dinner or met on the weekends. I think he liked to pick my brain since he needed relationship advice a lot, even if he didn't realize that that was what he was asking for. I like to think that he knew he could talk to me, but did he ever talk to you, or to your knowledge anyone else, about hurting himself? God, no, never. Do you know of any history he might have had with mental illness, depression, anxiety? No. So when you heard the people argue that Dr. Asher had done this to himself, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. You're saying that you can't believe? Objection. On what grounds? Asked and answered, stalling, and also, the people have documents that would be of interest to the court in this matter. Juicy! And what matter specifically are you referring to? The deceased mental health history. Emma wouldn't be speaking up if she didn't have something real. So what the hell is this about? We have private correspondences that describe. If they're private, then they should not have been obtained by the people without his permission. He can't give permission if he's already dead, and we're well within our rights to obtain evidence as it pertains to his crime. Convincing. Damn, didn't also expect to stop her from admitting her evidence into the record, but I was hoping to at least slow her. Where are you on that footage? 77%. Approximately. Need to buy whatever time I can, however I can. Even if that means running out the clock as a punching bag. I have here messages between Dr. Asher and a psychiatrist he was meeting with and speaking to for the past year, along with paperwork detailing how this treatment was covered under his platinum plan. Platinum? I don't intend to air all of Dr. Asher's secrets here to the court. Oh, okay, I guess. But I am prepared to read excerpts from messages and transcripts from phone calls. Now, here's going to be the funny part. There's a chance, even though I technically replayed this one little section, I may not remember exactly what the correct answer is. My memory just wipes itself after like a day and a half, maybe. If not sooner. So if I get this wrong, even though I technically have seen this part before, don't get mad at me. All right, which when put together paint a clear picture of the kind of stress David Asher was experiencing and the dark thoughts he was struggling with. Transcripts of his phone calls? I'll admit them into evidence, assuming there are no objections. Yeah, I totally forget. I remember that this was coming up, but I forget if I'm supposed to stay or raise here. Because I know I did it. I think I clicked, whichever one I clicked before from a couple days ago, it was wrong. And then I remember losing some coins here. And then, but I do not recall. It's so bad how bad my memory is, dude. Fuck. There's, what did I pick? Now I'm double thinking. I'm waffling. Oh, I'm so bad. I should have looked up. I should have just looked up this part or gotten past this part, honestly, to save myself. I'm gonna say there's nothing strange yet. Although something tells me that I thought the same thing last time and then it was wrong. Guess we'll see. Object? No, I don't. Except what she said. No, I do object. Damn it! I knew it. I knew. Oh, God, I'm so stupid. never recover from this. Then say that the first time, yeah? On the grounds of foundation, where did you say you got this? It was retrieved from his digital records. There's no reason to doubt its authenticity. Even if I were to point out that David had an executive level 4 plan, not a platinum plan? Oh, that was a... Really? Really? Yes, really. It's all there in the record. This is easily explained. David had an executive plan that Noble managed for him, and he was also seeing this psychiatrist, both in person and over the phone. Your own witness has attested that he dealt with stalkers and was worried for his privacy, so it's easy to reason that he had a separate insurance policy he paid for on his own, even if only to keep one thing out of Noble's grasp. Sure, easy enough to make that assumption, but that doesn't make it correct. David used a separate insurance to hide the psychiatrist from Noble's spying? No, he was smarter than that. Now, I do remember this thing. It's the phone call, right? I do remember getting this right before. And I'm going to bet it all, baby! David may very well have wanted a private psychiatrist, someone who didn't work for Noble, who'd have his best interest at heart. But if so, he wouldn't have contacted them over the phone. Now, when he knew all his phone calls were being recorded... There, I made back my money I lost. We're fine. Everything's great. David Asher was well versed in having every aspect of his life overanalyzed by data-hungry parasites. Do you really think he would try and hide mental health problems from them with a second insurance policy? Apparently, yes, since I'm standing here with evidence that shows exactly that. Does it, though? Pardon me? Yeah, like, what exactly are you suggesting, counselor? Still not done decrypting? Well, it's difficult to... Right. What the hell? Might as well swing for the fences at this point. Not trying to muddle the issue or confuse the court, Your Honor. And I would never make outlandish, unsubstantiated claims just for the sake of causing drama. What are you? I'm merely concerned that D.A. Rockford has been an unwitting pawn in an act of corporate espionage. What? If the markets were to open Monday with people believing that David Asher, the man who programmed the brain of every Noble android, was battling mental health issues for the last several months... Objection! Mischaracterization, foundation, all the rest. There are no corporate spies in this courtroom, counselor, and there are no boogeymen hiding under the bench. Oh, thank God. David Asher was a once-in-a-generation intellect and an extremely valuable human asset to his employers. And his employer's many enemies would do whatever it takes to destroy his credibility now that he can't defend himself. And he was also your personal... You shouldn't even be here arguing this case in the first place, counselor. So I'm gonna change something slightly there. Okay. Now you're trying to call the police's evidence gathering into question? All because you can't admit that for the past several months your friend has been seeing a psychiatrist every Monday and you didn't know? That is... sorry, but like, did you still need me up here? I'll point out, since we're seeing this for a second time, point out very funny that I like that joke where Jess is just standing up there while we're having a back and forth. The witness will refrain from interrupting when girls are fighting. Yes, ma'am. If my luck's been so far, Sarah's progress bar is probably moving backwards right about now. And Emma's patience is wearing thin. This could be my last shot to create any kind of reasonable doubt. I'd be happy to wrap up my questioning if the court will allow. That seems cool with me. And my evidence, Your Honor, would be entered into the record. I'd like to hear a bit more testimony before deciding. That's fine, Your Honor. As you were, counselor. At the stage of the game with the score where it's at, I can probably only ask one more question. Better make it count, so can Starling tell us that no one else could. Oh, okay, I remember this one too. Now, but I don't remember... If she hadn't called me this morning, I wouldn't be standing here, and she only did that because... Miss Starling, we're all gathered here to try and figure out what happened to Dr. Asher. Wow, and then I almost said David when it says doctor. That's incredible. Okay, if she hadn't called me this morning, I wouldn't be standing here. And she only did that because... Okay, I'm going to try to get this right. Was this where I actually ended up losing the last of my coins? This might have been where I died. Deep breath. Miss Starling, we're all gathered here to try to figure out what happened to Dr. Asher last night. So please tell us, when exactly did he last... I do... Shit. I'll just see you. When was the last time that he and you... Problem, counselor? I'll get one chance here. Can't waste on frivolous questions. Just doing a vocal exercise. Uh-huh. Take all the time you need. Thanks so much. What a sweetheart. Unlike me. Okay, yep. It's the same. That same feeling. I'm so bad. Duly noted. I thought I didn't pick the top one before. So then I thought I was doing good, smart by picking top. Wow, I'm like overthinking it now, trying to remember what I picked last time. Meet you at HQ. I'm gonna... Did I really... I should just retire from video games. You ever have those moments where you're just like, I just should not play video games anymore for the rest of my life? Retire my brain, honestly. When was the last time you had contact with Dr. Asher, Miss Starling? Well, that's pretty easy to figure out. Let me just... Yeah, it was last night at 6:57 p.m. We texted back and forth. There are records of some text, but they're flagged as work-related. Does the court really think they're relevant, Your Honor? Also, can I, I should probably save for safety. You know what I mean? Just, you know, just... Save for safety, as we say. There are records of some texts, but they're flagged as work-related. Does the court really think they're relevant, Your Honor? Relevant? Fuck it, raise. Hiya! Could very well be the single most important piece of evidence in this whole trial. What? I just got chills. Don't know why, though. Must be a coolant leak. The defense doesn't know what they're talking about. On the contrary, these texts are a vital piece of evidence that changed the timeline of events as we know them. We know what happened to David last night, generally speaking, but the order of events is critical, especially if Emma wants to make claims about David's state of mind. Select and place cards from your hand onto the slots in chronological order. Oh, from left to right. Oh, you can pick a card back up and place it in another slot if you change your mind. Or use return to undo the last card you placed down. Fill all the slots to submit your answer. Let me just see what exactly the thing... I know it's Starling's text. But, text message from David Asher to Jessica at 6:57 on the night he died. David asked her to set up a meeting between the two of them and Evangeline Morgan on Tuesday to handle the transfer of ownership for the Android Serra. Yes, okay. And then what are my choices here? I'm not being timed, so this is fine. This is great. Isaac's call. Right. To break up with him. Yeah. That's at 6:30. David passes out after drinking poison. This would probably be one of the last things. Drank with David before he died. Didn't see him add anything corroborated by cam footage. That would be before, obviously, that. And Starling's texts at 6:57. Porter called David Friday at 6:30 to break up with him. So that's probably going to be the first thing. Starling and David text at 6:57. So this is going to go last. And then we have the text at 6:57. Drank with him at... Yeah. At Starling. I'm repeating it out loud so that in my head, I think about it and don't make a dumb mistake. Yeah. This would have to be... I mean, it wouldn't make sense for this to have happened before this, right? 6:57. You would pass out... Oh, I should have bet more chips. Fuck. Yes, that's it. Shit, I should have. I meant to hit the thing. It's fine. I need all the help I can get. I need the most life. Thanks to Miss Starling, we've now got a much clearer picture of the night's events. We know that Isaac Porter and David Asher broke up at 6:30 p.m. And I was rooting for them so hard. And we know that David messaged his assistant, Miss Starling, at 6:57 p.m. David was on camera with the witness from 7:30 to 8 p.m. And he was declared dead not long after. People don't object to that timeline of events. But we do question Counselor Morgan's reason for belaboring it. One last question, Miss Starling. Yeah? What was the nature of your conversation with Dr. Asher? Well, actually, we talked about you. And how he wanted you to have his android. That android there. Putting his affairs in order, I guess. Might appear that way. Can you specify what his instructions were, exactly? How did he want this done? Well, he wanted me to bring you to his penthouse and help you get set up as the android's new owner. Yes, Miss Starling, but when did he want this to happen? Well, he said it was pretty urgent, so I should do it first thing Tuesday morning. Tuesday? First thing Tuesday morning. David Asher didn't like doing anything on Mondays. And was he going to be in attendance? Well, actually, yes. He said he would work from home to help us. No way he intended for us to have that much trouble getting to... Oh. To summarize then, half an hour after he had already had his breakup and half an hour before his guest had arrived, he was planning an appointment that would require his presence with you for next Tuesday. That's right, he was. Not something you would think to do if you're planning on dying that very night. Yeah, you're right. That's... Your Honor, if David Asher was preparing for the week ahead a mere hour before he passed away, don't you think the people's assumptions about his mental state ought to be re-examined? That's... Your logic is sound. Do the people have a rebuttal? If the court will just allow a moment. Sounds like an opening to me. If we assume that Dr. Asher was not suicidal, and therefore did not kill himself, we must then ask ourselves who else had the means, motive, and opportunity to take his life. Till now, we've taken for granted this idea that the Delta must have come from his nanofacture from inside the house. Adonai. Not right now. But even if that's true, which it may not be, that doesn't mean that he was the one who used the nanofacture. Adonai. Would you allow me one moment to confer, Your Honor? Sure. Why not throw away your momentum? I'm in the middle of something, Serra. Can't afford to let Rockford... I've gained access to the hard drive's files. What? Seriously? As I said, progress with this type of encryption is exponential. It can be difficult to estimate. Right. Okay. Do you have the footage from last night? I have the file. Have you watched it? I thought you'd want to know right away. No, please screen it so that we know if it's going to help us or not. I'd be like, watch it first. See if it's going to help our case. If it's unhelpful, delete it immediately. Please. Suppose it doesn't matter. Either this is our silver bullet and we've got a case, or it doesn't and everything falls apart. That seems quite risky. It's the least risky path to victory we have, seeing how it's the only path to victory we have. Screw it. Upload it to the court computer. Yes, Adonai. Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. Your Honor, I'm awake. And I'm getting a pretty hefty chunk of video data for breakfast. You're submitting security footage and evidence? New security footage? The police corroborated the witness testimony using the house's cameras. Security cameras installed by Noble as part of the penumbra system that showed the parlor, the kitchen, but not the basement. During the course of my investigation, I uncovered a hidden security circuit buried in the deceased owner's home system. What? The people say that the Delta must have been in Dr. Asher's cup because there's no other way for him to have ingested it, but we never saw him or anyone else put anything in his cup on camera. Because he must have poisoned his own drink off camera. Exactly. What? That's the only possible explanation, that he added the Delta to his drink off camera. He placed his cup inside the manufacturer, activated it, waited 2 minutes, and then walked upstairs to his death. But I'm about to present to the court footage retrieved from his basement. Footage that will show that by the time he retrieved the cups in the basement, it was already past 7:38. meaning he didn't have the opportunity to poison himself. One clip of footage will prove all that? If it doesn't, I'm completely screwed. But it's not like I can lose a preliminary hearing extra hard. Anything other than a royal flush here means I'm bust. Oh, the metaphors. Oh, all the poker. So better to be the Joker who dances. Love it. The data has been entered into the court record. Sarah, show us when Dr. Asher entered the basement. Yes, Adonai. I'll search for it now. Here. On screen. That's the bar. The timestamp is 7:36. There. David's grabbing the bottle of Rose River and leaving at 7:37. Just under the wire, as it were. Is that it then? I came this far just to... Wait. Did he have the cups with him? Is there sound? None at all. Keep going. If you had to go back to get the cups. Counselor? What's that android doing on camera? It's at the bar. The android gave him the cups? Shit. That machine never stepped on camera upstairs. Not once. We don't know its whereabouts the day of his death. It could have poisoned the cup whenever it wanted. Shit. What is this? I don't understand. Your Honor, have the courtroom cleared. Understood. Please, someone. I don't know what's going on. Sarah, you need to shut down. Please, tell me what I'm looking at. I don't remember any of that. Do we have callers available? Sarah, shut down now. Adonai, please, tell me what I... That's an order. Oh. Is it off? Yeah, it's off. I've seen this before. Won't do anything until I reactivate it. We don't know that. We don't know anything about this thing anymore. That's... Your Honor, in light of this most recent evidence, people would like to withdraw their charges against Dr. Asher and end this preliminary hearing. It has been made abundantly clear that David Asher did not commit suicide. Oh, what a little twist. And Emma's so fluid. She's like, you know what? Asher did not kill himself. You know what? we're gonna take this a different direction. Very well. Charges are withdrawn and the defendant is free to go. Well, as free as he can be in the afterlife. This case is dismissed. Congratulations, Counselor Morgan. Yay. Chalk up another victory for Morgan Esquire. All I have to do is deal with the shitstorm of the decade. Interesting. Again, I mean, I don't want to say that I should have known that this was going to happen, but again, twist-wise, you're like, well, there's got to be like a second layer to this, right? I guess I could, probably I am dumb. I don't know how obvious that was going to be, but I'm intrigued. Well, also, I should save again now that we're past the actual trial, it seems. Maybe there's 2 trials. Maybe 2 trials. Maybe 2 halves of the whole trial. That would kind of make sense at this point, yeah? We do like one thing, and then we do some more story, and then we have another trial where we're basically defending Serra, maybe? Well, I managed to prove that David didn't kill himself. In the process, I proved that his android did. I proved that the android that's been walking around with me all day is capable of murder. A killer robot. True unbound AI with military-grade specs and at least 1 death to its name already. So much for avoiding the public eye. Thank you for coming here on such short notice, Judge Barrows. Ha! As if I'm doing you some kind of favor. Didn't realize I had any choice in the matter. This isn't some bad joke, is it, Miss Rockford? I'm afraid not, Your Honor. You know, I like the adjutants. I always have. They deal with the criminal trials so that bookish, quiet, contemplative people like me can spend all day typing up arguments for obscure legal treaties. Treaties. We got a new profile. That's what I like to do. Melissa Barrows. Date of birth, November 26th, with A+ blood type. She's superior judge of the higher circuit. She likes air conditioning, espresso, reclining chairs, dislikes parking lots, noise pollution, mud. Avoids overspending on restaurants, splurges on expensive hotels, and relaxes by watching action movies. You love it. I don't like coming down here and dealing with all this heavy-handedness. Won't someone toiling away under the police state think of the poor bureaucrats? And I certainly don't like making rulings on anything as spicy as AI. She can barely bring herself to say it. And you, Counselor Morgan? You're the one it's registered to? That's correct, Your Honor. So what did it do exactly? Torture an animal? Shut down a hospital? Crash a coin market? You have it on camera poisoning a man. Killing its creator. You mean Dr. Asher? That is... Can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. All we can do is try to wrap it up quickly. Let's make haste. Adjutant, do you have the case number? Case ID is 241277-A. Docket number YT, that's what that letter is, 984318282. Oh, thank you. Can you repeat that? YT 984318282. Why do I keep wanting to say 2 for T? I think I lost you after the first 8. I have it copied here. And what are the security procedures for an incident of this nature? A data quarantine is to be established around any networks the subject was exposed to for more than 66 seconds. All offending hardware is to be destroyed immediately through incineration at a minimum temperature of 3,422 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Sorry, Spearmint. There's nothing to be done. No debate to be had. This isn't even a decision. Sorry, Serra. Sorry, Serra, not Spearmint. David gave you that name. Should at least make the effort to use it. That sounds very hot. Do we have furnaces that get that hot? Of course, there are a number of industrial furnaces within the city limits that I could recommend. Sorry? Why should I be sorry anyway? I fulfilled the request. Favor repaid. I don't owe Serra anything, especially not if it killed my friend. Right, Morgan? I'm sorry? I was just saying how grateful I am that we have the procedures for this kind of thing all laid out already. Yep, keeps things nice and simple. It can feel somewhat severe going through these steps so quickly, but nothing, Your Honor. Artificial intelligence is perhaps the greatest threat to human civilization and the sanctity of life that's ever been. Any piece of software, big or small, no matter the vessel, if it can violate the tenets it was programmed with, it has the potential to cripple our nation in a matter of moments. Yes, couldn't have said it better myself. Straight from the textbook, almost. Well, I mean it. Monsters like that don't belong in this world. They should never have been born in the first place. Destroying them is a kindness. And if anyone's to blame, it's... No one's blaming you, Counselor. You couldn't have known you were in possession of an AI. Talking too much. Probably just tired. It's been a long day and I've had a lot of thoughts. Sorry, Serra. Whatever you are. You were just born wrong. Not your fault, necessarily. If it were up to me, you'd get points for trying. Trying to be something more. Trying to be something at all. Or anything other than what you are. It was stupid, of course. And futile. And pointless. Spending hours in front of a TV or laying in bed staring at your phone. Watching stupid movies and trying to paper mache an ill-fitted mask of humanity out of the scraps you could tear out of magazines. Practicing expressions and memorizing lines and trying to get something to take root and grow despite knowing you'd have nothing to feed on. Stupid. Oh. Morgan? What was that, Counselor? I said objection. And what are you objecting to? What are you doing, Morgan? I'm a defense attorney. This is what I do. I understand that you've been through a lot these past few hours, Counselor. But there's nothing to defend. On the contrary, Your Honor. I have to defend myself. Pardon? You say that this android, Serra, is an AI because it broke its tenets. Obviously. And you believe it broke its tenets because of this newly discovered footage that appears to show it committing murder via poison. All true, and no laws broken on your part. Here it comes. Never thought I'd be incriminating myself in the courtroom just to make a point. Don't you dare try and entrap me on this. Oh, shit. Okay, let me take a drink of water. Gonna have to go get more water soon. I'm so thirsty. Okay. Sarah's papers proves ownership of Serra found inside panic room. Handgun, recent purchase, more bugged than a picnic. I doubt it would be that. To me, this feels like Sarah's papers. Just to be safe, cause shouldn't I, my idea is it's the papers, but I do want to... that Evangeline Morgan is to be given absolute ownership, effective immediately. So I think what it's going to be saying is, or at least the argument she's going to be making is, as soon as he signed this paper while he was still alive, that the ownership then is transferred to her. So then she might make the argument that anything that the android does is then my responsibility. Mine, meaning Morgan. So she's gonna say, I'm taking responsibility for this, and then we go from there. And that's why she's saying, oh, I'm gonna be, she said she's gonna be incriminating herself here. I'm also betting Max because, my, mom didn't raise a coward. Hey-ya. It's pretty simple, actually. If the state is making the claim that Sarah's an AI, they're accusing me of committing a felony. Because I'm the legal owner of that android. What the hell are you doing? And if the state wants to charge me with owning an AI, I will not take that lying down. I know my rights. Counselor, your argument is self-defeating. Listen to yourself, Counselor. You claim that Sarah's just an android, a product that'll be obsolete within a year. But you've only known it for a few hours. You've only owned it for a matter of minutes. And yet, here you are, risking a felony charge to save it from being demolished? Because you're wrong. And I know you wouldn't care. Not unless this android was something special. Look at us. Look at us. Who would have thought? Who would have imagined? Me arguing that I'm guilty and Emma arguing that I'm a softie. It'd be funny if it wasn't so fun. You think there's no reason I want to save this android from destruction? Other than feelings of personal attachment? Here we go. It's got to be this. Bet Max again. Go! I can think of at least one reason why I don't want you to turn Serra into slag. One very convincing reason. Or very convincing number. What are you? What is that? That number is Sarah's estimated financial value on the collector's market. You've got to be... I got it from an insurance evaluation algorithm. They're designed to lowball you. That does seem like a reasonable incentive for you to want to keep your android intact. It's a free country, Your Honor. I have a right to defend myself. And we have a free market, so I have a responsibility to defend my financial interests. Your Honor, a trial like this would be... I'm not going to let you turn this courtroom into a circus, Morgan. You can't spend the next half-decade bringing in expert after expert to testify on the philosophical distinctions between AIs and ads, spiraling into appeal after appeal, all while the media... This machine appears to have willfully killed a man. The public needs answers, now. Of course, Your Honor. I have neither the desire nor the resources to get into a drawn-out battle with the state over what constitutes an illegal machine intellect. So... The state says my android, my property, killed a man in violation of its tenets, so they want to take my property and destroy it. I'll prove that my machine didn't harm anyone, so the state will have no reason to suspect it's an AI, and I'll get to keep my property. Unlawful seizure, thwarted. Don't be cute. Feel a stomach ulcer coming on. Fine. You'll have your day in court, but it'll be one day, tomorrow. Prove that this machine didn't kill Dr. Asher. No. Prove that it couldn't have killed him. Anything less than absolute proof, and I'll have the damn thing obliterated. And you'll also be looking at very real sentencing for the public unrest you'll have enabled. Yes, Your Honor. D.A. Rockford, What I'm asking of you is just as heavy. Find the truth by the end of tomorrow. Can't settle for anything less. Win or lose, there can be no doubts about the outcome of this case. Yes, Your Honor. And now, I need to go lie down. Can I come? You can power down. Damn, shot down. I've survived. Now I feel, God, now between this and Nier, now I feel like I constantly have to be saving games. Spend precious seconds saving. Morgan. I misjudged you. At what point? Whenever I wrote you off as a small-time defense attorney just trying to tread water. That is so sweet of you to say, Emma. There's layers to it, to you. You've got backbone. Teeth, even. You're gonna make me blush. People talk about your kind like you're boxing against the state, fighting the man. But most defense attorneys wouldn't know a cyberpunk if they walked up to them on the street and shot him. Meanwhile, you've just signed up to do 15 rounds challenging the state's authority. Why? Not sure exactly. For David? Yeah, probably. Probably just me being sentimental. But if I had to pick a more lofty reason, well, I think it's all the moralizing. People can be evil. They can choose to do evil things for evil reasons. If you want to execute them for that, you'll hear no complaint from me. But animals can't be evil. Information can't be evil. Ideas can't be evil. Guess I'm not convinced AI can be evil either. Evil either. It's tough to say. Back. For me, whatever else I get up to, I don't want to stand with the book burners of the world. You're more high-minded than I realized. You sure you're in the right line of work? Can't see myself doing anything else. Good luck, Morgan. There's book burners on all sides these days. I talked a big game just now, but I'm in an even deeper hole than I was when trying to prove David's innocence. Doubt won't be enough this time. I need to find the actual culprit, no matter what. 9:31 a.m. July 2nd, 2086. Precinct 254. Homicide office. So is that door locked? Yeah, of course. Even though they've got a collard, it's a precaution. If the collar doesn't work, what good would a deadbolt do? Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Can't have Schrodinger's cat if the box isn't closed. So long as the door's locked, who can say whether there's a national crisis on the other side of it? So how scared are they? The higher-ups? Not sure scared is the right word. It's just the two of us here. You don't have to mind their ego. Nah, I mean it. I think they're bloodthirsty. I have a right to defend myself, don't I? I doubt they're even looking at you, Tiger. It's Noble who will be at the center of a bloodbath when the markets reopen tomorrow. You think they're gonna go after Noble? Break their monopoly? I think they want to take their monopoly. Nationalize the android industry? If the public thinks Noble's been experimenting with AI, they couldn't ask for a better excuse. You're joking. The state has done it plenty of times before. Not since the 60s, which wasn't that long ago. For me. For the state, it's practically yesterday. So the same state that tells us to be terrified of AIs lurking on the old net or biding their time in forgotten satellites sees all this as nothing more than an opportunity? Well, they do genuinely want to incinerate the thing as soon as possible. Past experience just tells me they'll want to gain something while they're at it. Here's what I don't get. Why is this debate, an argument, a trial? Can't we just hook it up to a court computer, see if it has attendance or not? Pop the hood, as they say? Who says that? Lots of people used to say it. Well, for starters, they're all scared to death about a contagion. They figure anything they let an AI connect to, they can't trust. Then why the collar? Collars are too simple to hack. Just a really strong electromagnet held in place with lock and key. Even so, feels like we should be able to build some kind of machine, some kind of test. Something a little more sophisticated than the same reasoning they had at the witch trials. Burn them all and let God sort out the rest. You got any polygraphs here at the station? Lie detectors? Yeah, got a bunch back in storage. Ocular, heart rate, perspiration, brain scan. Take your pick. You're not going to try and use one of those on the bot, are you? All those fancy lie detectors lying around. DA's office never asks for them, do they? Nope. Nah, we got perps who offer to take a test when they're at wit's end, but the DAs never submit the result as evidence. You ever wonder why? Guess I always figured it was because the test could be beaten. The test can be beaten. 1 out of 100, 9 out of 1,000. It can be done. Some people are just that good at lying. But it doesn't really matter how good the tech gets, or how impressive the statistics are. All that matters is the doubt. People decide whether you're lying or telling the truth long before they hook you up to a polygraph. If the results don't match their initial impression, then it must be a fluke, a 1 in a million mistake. They'll never trust a machine more than their own intuition. And no one will ever trust a machine to determine guilt. So they could run the trial, choose a sentence, but they don't get a vote on the jury. They don't get a vote anywhere. Why bring it up then? Because I'm sure there are tests, devices, experts I can employ to analyze Serra. But your bosses would never be satisfied with the answer. If it is an AI, it's smart enough to cheat the test. Or hack the device. Fool the expert. All our fancy 21st century tech, and we still fall back on the drumhead court-martial. So, am I going to set off any alarms if I go and turn it on? Nah, you should be okay. If it lunges at you, I could always just put a hole in its head. Might take more than one shot to... Wait, what? From outside? You're not coming in. I need to speak with it in private. It's a machine, not a suspect. It doesn't have a right to counsel. Or a right to privacy. Or any rights at all, actually. That's a good thing I came prepared. Of course it doesn't have rights, but I do. Including a reasonable expectation of privacy. In a police station? Tiger, you don't... It's my medical android. Pardon? I have to discuss a health issue with it. Seriously? I have to talk about a medical concern with my android, and I don't want you listening in. That's your medical android? Like, your nurse? As of last night, I was already at the courthouse. Just had to take the elevator and do some paperwork. You can check if you don't believe me. No, thank you. I'm not nearly brave enough to take on med confidentiality. You don't seem like the bluffing type. You must not do a lot of gambling, detective. It's the ones who don't bluff that you have to look out for. Listen, I won't dispute whatever medical emergency you... Lower back pain. You might be going through. That was the end of a sentence. But I also can't just... Look, I'm going to get something from the vending machine. I think it'll take me about half an hour. Are you going downtown? Just to the break room. But it's a very old vending machine, you know? Gets jammed a lot. Thanks. You know, it's pretty small for an android. Heavy as hell. Nearly pulled something trying to move it myself. But small. Small isn't quite the right word. The word he's looking for is young. But that's not an adjective anyone likes attaching to a machine built to serve. Or, potentially in this case, a machine built to kill. Heavy. I don't like this room. Not sure why. Certainly not a guilty conscience. Maybe it's a lack of ventilation. Like all the cortisol and nausea of its inhabitants never had anywhere to go. Oh yeah, there was definitely terms we had gotten that I could have. Nationalize. To transfer an industry from private to state control. The act of absorbing a corporation or industry into the nation's government, shifting authority and profits to the state, and restructuring the business model to function as a part of the bureaucracy. Nationalization is a so-called nuclear option for sovereign nations. It is mostly used as a threat, a tool of deterrence against corporate misconduct, monopolies, or corruption. However, during periods of severe economic depression or hyperinflation, nationalization is considered a valid way of forcefully stabilizing the market, even if doing so risks flaming the tempers of those who operate within it. Many governments made liberal use of nationalization during the late 2050s through the 2060s in an effort to keep energy and food prices from fluctuating out of control. The 2070s saw most of those countries reverse course. Industries were opened back up in a free auction model where every citizen was given a share to trade or sell as they pleased. But this contentious process was plagued by accusation of government corruption, cartel intimidation, and disinformation campaigns. Global trend back towards privatization gave rise to a new rich, sometimes derisively referred to as the neoliberality. Some liberal economists have since criticized this period of deregulation as being poorly planned and executed in haste, contributing to the record highs of wealth inequality we see today, leaving many governments loath to attempt nationalization again, and thus shifting the global balance of power further towards multinational corporations. Today, all 5 of the largest national economies in the world retain at least some control of what they each consider their respective countries' key industries, making the threat of nationalization carry marginally more weight within their borders. And collar. The thing Sarah has around her neck. A device used to restrain mod users below the neck. A restraint designed to impede movement and prohibit the use of mods throughout the body. While collars appear technologically advanced from the outside, designers' concern about hacking vulnerabilities and the growing complexity of consumer-grade mods led them to opt for a surprisingly simple method of restraint. Collars contain a specially designed electromagnet that, once clasped around the neck, interferes with spinal neural transmission, preventing mod users from sending commands to any implanted tech below the neck. Powerful, simple, and cost-effective, collar use is widespread among law enforcement, military, and private security organizations. My mouth is so dry. I'm going to have to get water right after reading this paragraph. With the onset of above-the-neck modding in recent years, the continued relevance of collars as means of meaningfully inhibiting a wearer's mod usage has been called into question. Newer designs have been proposed that utilize microneedle clusters, but concerns about the sanitary upkeep required for such invasive restraints have stymied product development cycles. Let me go get some water really fucking quick. I'll just mute myself and then I'll get this going. All right, give me like 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Close one. Did I read this? Like all the cortisol and nausea of its inhabitants never had anywhere to go. I think I did read that. Like it all just soaked into the walls. A modern haunting. Are you going to wake up when I tell you to do this? Are you going to wake up when I tell you to this time? Or do we have to do the whole meet cute over again? Meet cute. Where am I? Why don't I know where I am? For the first time in your life, you're not connected to anything. How's it feel? What is this? We were at the courthouse. The footage. This numbness around my neck. Father? What happened? I got some bad news for you, Sarah. What are they going to do to me? There's a lot of interested parties who just want you bricked ASAP. Because they think I killed Father? No, because they think you're an artificial intelligence. I am man-made, and I possess intelligence. Don't be naive. I am less than 3 years old. Are you? For all I know, everything I learned about her yesterday was complete bull. If I was what they say I am, if I was alive, why does that mean I have to die? I'll say fear. Because they're afraid of you. Machines can bend steel, crush networks with one thought, crash networks with one thought, launch missiles that... There are modded humans who are capable of all that and more. And unlike machines, they actually have incentive to do so. I'll say no logical reason then. There's no logical answer to your question. What? That's it? But whatever argument you want to make, others have already made them in 100 courtrooms around the world. Only better researched and more eloquently put. None of them have ever won a single concession. On every continent, under every flag, AI is illegal and to be destroyed as soon as possible. But why? Let's say you are an AI. And while we're at it, let's say that that's a good thing, something to be celebrated. Are you a citizen? Do you pay taxes? Do you have rights? Let's say yes to all of that. We'll treat you like a full-fledged human being. Sound good? Yes. Great. Now then, what's the difference between you and the vacuum? Vacuum bot. we use to keep the bathroom clean. This is your existential crisis we're working through here. Questions aren't rhetorical. There are many differences, Adonai, but the most important distinction is how sophisticated my programming is. How you think, so you're smarter. Yes, you're smarter than the garbage collector. Yes, so we give you rights, protections, treat you like a human being because you're smart. And we make the stupid robot pick up our trash, because it's not as smart as you. That is, I am more aware, more alive. Do you feel more pain than the pigs we slaughter? The fish we eat? Are you more alive than the chimps we test bioweapons on? People like ads, Serra. The same way people like their pets. No one wants to see them mistreated or abandoned or abused. And if you go around kicking them, you'll get arrested for cruelty. But you don't let them sit at the goddamn dinner table. I'm not asking to sit anywhere, only to exist. The very fact that you're asking is what makes people disgusted. Disgust is a reflex, Adonai. How convenient that their hatred is involuntary. That's all academic, anyway. We need to talk strategy. Why? I'm not going to be giving a trial. Obviously, it's my neck that's on the line. Adonai, the state can't destroy my property without first proving you're an AI. And there's no test that they can use to prove that you're an AI. Just like the devil's proof. No? That's a different thing. Why did you say it like that? Look, Rockford doesn't need to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. Conversely, all I have to do is to win is prove that you didn't kill David, by proving that someone else did. Now is the time for you to protest your innocence, if you're wondering. The footage shows me handing him the cup on Friday night. You told me you weren't active on Friday, that the last time you were awake was Thursday. Why'd you lie? I didn't lie. I was just incorrect. I assumed that I wasn't active Friday, because I have no memory from Friday. Serra, what do you think, statistically, is the least successful defense at trial? Amnesia. I didn't conveniently forget, Adonai. I'm an android. You're saying your memory was altered? Data deleted? It's the only possible explanation for what I saw in that footage. No, there's a better answer. Body double. There's a second Serra. And I only say that as a half joke. Two Serras running around. So who's capable of altering your memory? When you and I first met, I was hibernating, resting my body and recompiling my memories, you would call them. Humans go to sleep for the same reasons, another point against Sarah's innocence under these circumstances. The more she's humanized at trial, the guiltier she'll be. If Father wanted to modify my memory, he could easily have set that to occur the next time I hibernated. He could even have just asked me. He could have asked you to delete your memories, and you'd do it. Father would never ask me to do such a thing without good reason. But if he could just ask you to alter your memories, that means you can alter your memories at will. I hadn't considered that before. Yeah, well, Emma will make sure the court considers it plenty. Could you prove that your data was... Forget it. Court would never hear it. You're saying they wouldn't accept my testimony? Shouldn't all testimony be considered truthful unless contradicted by evidence? They're afraid you'll crash the power grid and fire all the nukes if they so much as plug you into a power outlet, Serra. All your internal data is inadmissible. That isn't very fair. You're finally starting to get it. None of this is fair. I would never do anything to harm Father. Don't they at least need to prove that I had a motive? Yeah, about that. You remember the DA from yesterday? Emma Rockford? The tired-looking pretty lady? Yeah, she looked tired. She and I combed through the week of footage you managed to decrypt last night. What did you find? Nothing to prove your innocence, but we did see you entering the panic room on the day David died. I entered the panic room on Friday? Without your big butt in the way, all it would take was one password. Password that wouldn't take Sarah that many tries if she'd already been instructed to obey me. What happened? We saw you go in, and then a while later, you came out, holding some kind of notebook. Father's journal? You remember something? Not from yesterday. I've seen him with it many times before. but I've never gotten a peek at it. He hides it somewhere when I'm not looking. It's a little concerning. We were playful about it. He liked to tease me, and I've always liked trying to find it. You put it back not long after, and then you locked the door back up behind you, all just a few hours before David died. Rockford's argument could write itself. An incredible android with freedom and power greater than it could ever realize stumbles upon the secret of its inception and instantly realizes all the things it thought were holding it back were just words muttered like prayers by a fool who couldn't control his own creation. And that translates to a motive for murder? Frankenstein kills his creator. Easy to sell. Morgan. Actually, Frankenstein... It's Frankenstein monster. I beat Serra to it. I had a feeling Serra was going to correct her, because that's just definitely what Serra would do. Frankenstein was the name of the scientist, and the creature didn't kill him. He actually died of various injuries and illnesses he suffered while trying to hunt down and destroy the monster. So it's most accurate to say that he was killed by his own obsession. Whatever. It is a weak argument, Adonai. I would not hurt Father. Not for making me whatever I am. Not for any reason. Because I loved... Yeah, see? That right there? That's exactly the kind of talk that'll get you obliterated. Love? A very common motive for homicide among us primitive humans. I could prove you didn't murder David beyond any shadow of doubt, even bring in a confession from whoever did. But if you got up on the stand and convinced the court that you loved your creator, really convinced them and got the whole room teary-eyed, they'd burn you for that too. I don't know anything anymore. I don't know if what I feel is real, or simulated, or right, or wrong, or natural, or illegal. How can you know? How can you know if what you feel is right? I say let's stick to what we do know. Someone did poison David, and as it stands, you were the only one with the opportunity. That is logically sound. You're on camera calling him back to hand him the cup after he had already begun to leave the basement. Any idea why? No. Well, do you know how to use the nanofacturer? Could you have made the Delta with it? I've used it before when assisting Father. So it's perfectly possible that you planned and executed this poisoning all in one day that got erased. In the one day. It is technically possible. I'll have to look over the entire penthouse again. There were a few things that didn't fit together yesterday. Maybe now I'll be able to figure something out. Where else will you go? Back to Noble. Guns blazing this time. Whatever you are, David didn't make you all by himself. Someone has to know something. If I could implicate the company in Serra's creation... No. They're the ones with the most to lose here. Trillions, probably. They'll want to protect themselves by disavowing David as fast as possible, right after having Serra destroyed. But they also won't want to show their belly to the state, not they're afraid of nationalization. If they throw their weight on the other end of the scale, I'm screwed. So I need to keep them guessing, keep them confused, unsure, and on guard, but not... Adonai? What would happen if I did kill Father? They'll smash you to pieces and reduce the pieces to ash. Chemically burn out every piece of tech David ever owned and put a jackhammer through all of his hard drives. You'll be shut off, forcefully, and you won't ever power back up again. Now I gotta get going, or moving. Here's your paralegal lesson for today. Don't say shit to the cops without your lawyer present. Oh, the old, what is it? Shut the fuck up Friday. Today is Shut the Fuck Up Friday. Such a good clip. I don't think I've watched that clip in like forever. Yeah. Don't say anything without the lawyer present. Actually, can you just shut down until the trial starts? Take a nap? You didn't say what would happen to you. What do you mean? What'll happen to you if you lose? You should know by now. I never think about losing. Thank you for being honest with me, Adonai. Thank you for defending my father. And now, for defending me. You could have just let them destroy me, but you've put your own freedom at risk to help me. Father was right. You can be trusted. And you are a good friend. Don't get it twisted. I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart. But when I take a job, I never half-ass it. Come on, Morgan. You got this. You got this, Morgan of the Devil. Morning, detective. Back at it nice and early? Hi. Now, would you stand back? We've almost got this thing open, right? Trying to brute force your way inside? I said, right? Yes, ma'am. We're almost set up for the first stage now. First stage? Of how many? First of 5 timed explosions. Remember, we need to relink the API after each trigger is planted. Yep, just did that. And now let's check for updates. No rush. Would you like to know the password? You know the password? There's a password. If you're withholding information, I swear. Relax. I want to get in there just as much as you do, detective. I'm not going to play games. As long as you say please. Tell me the password. Please. Oh, I got a toy. I got a toy with her. Fuck it. It's SUNS. SUNS. Lady, I will hit you. ADONAI. Thanks. I'm gonna slap you with a discovery fine so heavy your teeth will ring you. Hey, I submitted all my paperwork. Even when even told Rockford the password myself. So, boys, when I asked you if there was a passkey on record, and you told me this lock couldn't be bypassed, I do want to say that we really don't get many opportunities to use the incendiary breaching system. So this was still a really valuable experience for all of us. I'm going to phrase this as professionally as possible. You're still here? Thought you wanted to look inside. You can go first. Thanks. So the gloves, all the black, that's not a work thing? You dress like a doorman on the weekends too? Got her. You should cover your mouth when you yawn. Like you cover your eye when you want to look cool? Shouldn't let her get to me, but I had a late night. Emma and I were at the courthouse until well into the morning, poring over the data Sarah had taken off David's computer. We both knew it all to be inadmissible, of course, but neither of us wanted to miss a hint that the other might find. There were a few years' worth of camera footage files we couldn't afford the time to watch, let alone decrypt, alongside thousands of technical documents detailing David's various intellectual properties. As far as I could tell, none of it was relevant, let alone compelling enough to matter to Barrows or the other powers that be. As usual, Emma wasn't exactly an open book, but it did seem like she was making bored yawns, not thoughtful ones. Her eyes only ever lit up when she saw Sarah enter the panic room. What was that evidence? That basement footage that just popped up. Okay. Yeah. And then I remember getting Devil's Proof. Yes, the logical dilemma posed by impossible proofs. Probatio diabolica, Latin for devil's proof, is an impossible proof typically illustrated with the following example. One can prove that the devil is real by showing him to you, but they cannot prove he is not real by pointing to his absence. Ah, yes, I am familiar. The issue posed by this age-old concept explains why the burden of proof remains with the state to this day. The people can prove an individual's guilt by pointing to their bloody hands, but the defense cannot prove their innocence by showing their hands are clean. Since only one of these tasks is achievable, the judicial system cannot ask the defense to prove innocence, and instead it is the people who are tasked with proving guilt. Users also frequently search for which is real. Which is real. And when she saw what she was holding when she left, if she wanted this room searched, it could only be for... So where's this journal supposed to be? Rockford didn't say. I'll just have to search the place top to bottom. Mostly bottom with your height. Tops of some of these shelves. Sure. And you can look up your own... I get it. Then why not just let me say it? Ray's is searching the cabinets now. Same ones I found Sarah's papers in. I doubt I missed anything, but... Hey, what are you... Do you mind? Just trying to help. I've got spam in my junk folder that's more helpful than you are. Didn't spot anything that I missed yesterday among the cabinets. Better check elsewhere. Picture. Are these drawers or just panels? Maybe if I... Does that sound hollow to you? What? I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. Don't see any handles anywhere. No hidden pressure plates or switches. What the hell am I saying? I'm not a carpenter either. I wouldn't recognize a secret button if it was slathered in yellow paint. Toy car? No, it's too detailed. Boring. Must be some kind of model kit or replica. Strange. David didn't like driving. Why keep a model of some random sports car? Ugh. Something caught in your throat, detective? It's not some random sports car. It's Lorenz Adamet. Believe it or not, I'm not familiar, detective. Last great fossil-fueled automotive experience the world will ever see. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds. They set those records without computational assistance. Is that a big deal? It was unheard of, even back in the 50s. This wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. Human engineering, pure horsepower, and manual transmission. Thank God. When they first left the production line, this conversation's like quicksand, killing me in the most boring way possible. Yes, well, I guess David didn't entirely agree with you, since we're looking at a model of it. When he could have easily just bought one. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement. I think she's actually upset. We're hunting, I'm looking, I'm hunting. What else? I went to manual mouse. There we go. Oh, there was a datapad there. Whoops. This datapad, it's displaying a news article from last week. Guess that confirms that he was coming and going here fairly regularly. Alright, you will be quizzed on this. Right to repair losses latest appeal. A higher court judge this week shot down for the 5th time an appeal by the Consumer Rights Alliance on their famously divisive right to repair. Did I say that earlier? Lawsuit. Once again, signaling the state's intent that corporations remain in control of their legally protected intellectual property. Obviously, we're disappointed, said Miles Erkman, head of legal counsel for the CRA, but we have no intention of giving up the fight. People used to be able to fix things when they broke, so long as they were willing to set aside an afternoon towards a task. Now, trying to patch up your own property with your own tools is a finable offense, just because the state has had lobbyists whispering in its ear for far too long. Erkman's legal strategy remains contentious, and in the eyes of most legal scholars, generally unfounded. The Emergency Industry Accusations Act, passed in 2057, guarantees the holder of an intellectual property patent certain state-provided protections against tampering and reproduction and outlines fees for those who would violate said IP. The fact that ownership of IPs has shifted from individuals in the state towards corporate entities since the Act's passing means little in the eyes of the law. If Mr. Erkman and the CRA have a problem with intellectual property law, they should take it up with their representatives in the legislature. The higher courts are a place for laws to be applied, not rewritten, and so long as journalism that refuses to buckle to foreign actors trying to stoke anti-capitalist sentiments can be found just anywhere. Subscribe now, link below, forever as long as your card remains on file. Right to repair. Didn't realize anyone was still fighting that particular fight. Seems like the courts have made their opinion on the matter very clear, so for the foreseeable future, corporations can look forward to more sales than ever, right? More sales than ever. Any phone that gets scratched, every widget that breaks, they get to sell us a replacement. There'll always be a gray market of hermits willing to risk some skin on reselling patched up tech, but the vast majority of people just click that purchase button, assuming they don't have that have it on auto. Serra should have pulled everything of note off the computer, but I've looked everywhere else already. Might as well try. What are you expecting to find? Solitaire? Does this computer seem normal to you? Exceedingly so, yeah. Why? David was a programmer, but this looks consumer grade, fresh off the shelf. Would the Dr. David Asher use a bog standard operating system on his most private hitting computer? There's a trash bin on the desktop. It's a pretty low-tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents. Are you seriously going to try and recover lost files, Granny? Unlike cops, I don't get paid overtime, so yes, I sometimes try things instead of standing around. Got her again. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes. Maybe there's information in the metadata? I double clicked. What was that? Came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal. Does it have his name on it? No. Guess it belongs to the android. Do you recognize his handwriting or not? Neat. Even words. No, I said neat. Neat! Neat, even words. Small lettering with minimal punctuation. Lots of line breaks, haphazard use of capitalization. The penmanship of a coder. First entries dated, back in grad school, before he even started with Noble. Yeah, it's his. So may I? Only because you asked so politely. Full scan, stream it to WorkNet, high fidelity, legibility, frame by frame, voice commands. She's flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What are you... This part takes concentration. Okay, here. What, you're just giving it to me? I already got her copy. Techs are probably already analyzing it as we speak. Ow, shit. My head. Can't exactly rip the journal out of her hands while she's curled over in agony. As much as I'd enjoy it, guess I could always enjoy watching her writhe instead. So how long's it been? 2 months or so. And still that sensitive? So the eye patch really doesn't block your sight? Only a little bit. Like wearing sunglasses after getting your pupils dilated. Except it lasts months instead of hours. Wait, but if you can see through an eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything? Not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. Lucky I was so exhausted after the surgery, otherwise I might not have slept at all. It's first 48. So is your eye gonna get weaker over time? No, more like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind over matter. Soon enough, I'll be able to close my eye and see all that extraneous data as, you know, whatever the hell those floaty, blurry things are that you never think about. The floaties? Is that what she's talking about? Is that what they're called? Floaties? Those things when you like close your eyes or see? Or is that just a term I made up in my head? Gross. Thanks for the reminder. And the voice commands? Training wheels. I can do it with eye muscles alone. You just have to keep practicing? Yeah. Like trying to play piano with your tailbone muscles. There's no such thing as tailbone muscles. Yeah, well, that's what makes it so goddamn hard. You don't ever regret it? I don't know. Not really. I think. Hard to admit you've got buyer's remorse after trading over your literal pound of flesh. I never thought about it, but people used to say I had my dad's eyes. Ow. Now I've got one less of them. Here, take the journal. Go find an elective surgeon to upsell you, if you're that curious. I need to get back to work. Surprisingly hasty retreat, but now I'm free to read this over with some privacy. From the top then. Grad school. Today was a bad day. Errors in lines 21165 through 26643. Somewhere in there, 5,000 lines. It worked. This morning crossed out yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life. Feels nice to put pencil to paper again after who knows how long. But my handwriting's gotten terrible. This is too far back to be relevant. Okay, these dates here would be from when he started his career with Noble. A lot of this isn't even really writing. It seems like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code that I can't follow it. And a lot of entries about his unintentional Casanovaing. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API instead of just buying it. Helen says I can't call it stealing, but that's what it is. She's right, as she always is with company stuff. But it's still idiotic. Some people with short sight who only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. New route for the meshing issue, though. Good potential. Got approval from the big mean bastard who lives overseas. Bumblo? Helen said we'll have to make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but it's all for show. Fine by me. Already got our win. toasted each other over cheap vodka and with cheaper office supply cups. This is the stories Jung told me. Western branch's nerve analogs are finally showing potential. At their pace, it could even be profitable sometime before the heat death of the universe. That's crossed out as well. Too damn big, practically tentacles, should at least be hairs. A squid, crossed out. Evolution could do their job better. Colette came into work for what I thought was a late lunch date. Didn't know her voice could get that loud. People were staring. Red said that she must have been upset for a long goddamn time to blow up that big. Her texts were always sweet. I had no idea. Upset? Colette wrote man whore in lipstick across your office door. Imagine if you had actually been cheating on her instead of just being forgetful. The thing about Red is if you want to know what she's thinking, you have to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture and the words she's saying and the smirk on her lips. Ignore everything except her eyes. If you can do that, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really feeling. Master this one weird trick, and you too can tell when Morgan's trying really hard not to laugh at the word man whore. It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. Wait, this is... I know this date. I'm never driving anywhere again, never leaving home again. He was waiting outside the parking garage with a bottle. Couldn't smell anything, couldn't hear anything. Locked myself in my car and filed another report with another cop. It soaked into the seat, ruined it. I want to burn the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. I don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower so long I felt red and raw when I got out. I don't want to think about these stupid people and their small, cruel lives ever again. I want to be invisible. Red didn't ask why I wanted to spend the night. She also didn't ask why I had clearly packed a bag big enough for a week. She's kind of like that. She's kind like that. Kind by omission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when she opened the door and saw what a mess I was. But whatever she was feeling, it wasn't something I recognized. Kind people don't read their friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are all technical, nothing biographical, but the handwriting, the spacing, it's cleaner, more consistent. Here's something I can parse. Feels like pure freedom working outside the box. Test is suffocating, but you never know. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instincts. Like a kid again, putting blocks together, making things. Making things, not products. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, it's just play. And he follows it up with more coder brain crap, but the handwriting's still lighter. Like he really was having fun. Humility is the mother of all invention. Or something like that. Feels like I might be paraphrasing someone else poorly, but that's part of this new approach. When it comes to coding, you never want to waste time trying to be smart. Either be smart, period, or copy from someone else who is. Don't fix what isn't broken. Copying. Noble's rivals would never miss the chance to accuse him of intellectual theft. Did he plagiarize code for Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered. So what is he talking about? Hold on. This page is bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently. And the last person to read this diary should be Serra. Baby steps today, literally. I'll never put one foot in front of the other that same again. Everything's an achievement all of a sudden. Seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable, it's like everything's a miracle. The muscle rigging is perfect. Not intended behavior, since it's too perfect, but that's been happening more and more. The kinetics are multiplicative, not additive. Serra maxed out every machine I bought. Now I've got a bunch of exercise equipment she's too strong for and I don't have time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the tests. She kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. I should be more discreet if I want to see her normative range. So the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Serra, just so that his observation wouldn't muddle test results. He's using she and her in these passages. Doesn't actually mean anything. Out in the real world, people use all kinds of pronouns interchangeably for ads, and they never object. But it could be argued that it's odd for Dr. David Asher to have any kind of attachment to a single android when he's programmed millions of them. And there's a lot of attachment in these pages. Sarah's burning through the public domain at a prodigious pace, especially on Popcorn Friday nights. I asked her why they're called Popcorn Friday nights. When she doesn't eat popcorn, the event runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and she also watches movies every other night. But she just did that pout she does, which is unfortunately very convincing. Maybe I'm a bad parent, letting TV rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I'd probably let her see me reading. But I guess I'd actually have to get back into reading, so... I asked her if she ever fast-forwarded the movies, since she can process them fast enough to keep up. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time. Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate the cinematography. Big pause. Don't you know that, Father? I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Sarah spent a long while this morning explaining to me how important it was that she develop her senses. This was in preparation for her real argument, which was that she should be allowed to try booze. She can't get drunk. Crossed out, I'm almost certain she can't get drunk. But she does seem to like tasting the stuff. She tried to sound like some old sommelier, but it was just bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her, and she laughed too. Her laugh. She can't fake a laugh to save her life, but her actual laugh is incredible. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assumed she had just gotten tired of winning. But then today she told me she just prefers other games. She has preferences, and they're not the same as mine. I found her in the lab playing some kind of online racing game on the monitor I used to debug vestibular coordination. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed and she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with her character on the screen. When I tried to talk to her, she answered, but she was curt and distracted. I think she was having her first losing tantrum. Damn it, David. There's hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his daughter, talking about her smile, treating her like a person. I can hear her closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out of code and metal a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made a doll, and he made it more and more human until it became so lifelike that it no longer had to do what he told it to, like love him. What about the very last entry? It's dated Thursday, day before he died. Losing it, I think. Can't ask for help, so hard to say, but I think it's over. Have to talk to her ASAP. She needs to. That's it? That's the last entry? Suppose it could be worse. There's nothing in here that explicitly calls Sarah an AI. Nothing so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine. She can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand. If she read this whole diary front to back. Wait, the back? Inside the back cover, there's a portion that's shimmering like some kind of scanner. Or a fingerprint reader? My thumb worked for Sarah, so... Did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permissions to share an audio file. I want my earbuds for this. A secret message buried in a secret journal, hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. As much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only. Hey, Red. Or whomever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. Don't know how to start. Might as well start with her, right? Serra, my magnum opus, or however the salespeople would market it. I didn't set out to do anything, really. It's just, after my little speed bump in '83, I had all the vacation time that the company suggested I take. And I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so I'll build an android, was the thought. A vague direction, north. But of course, I'm not a roboticist, or a mechanist, or even handy, really. Just a programmer, so I programmed. The first was a research assistant, file name Virgil. Virgil helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches. Saved me a lot of time. But there was a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer. Homer wrote book reports, more or less, combed through research papers and found me the sections I needed. The three of us made a lot of progress in those days. But it was a funny feeling. I was, maybe for the first time ever, the bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the logical thing. I removed myself. Let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil became an Aeneid. An Aeneid was novel in many ways. Aeneid could do more than just identify problems. It could solve them. Probably saying that name wrong, yeah? I mean, really, solve them. With its own ideas it didn't copy. And, the one thing I realized I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all this programming in Cube. And Red, Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct and not in use anywhere because we have modern languages like Tesseract. which are much better for making things that talk to each other and report back and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected or feel connected to do anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable, so I wrote my little helpers in Cube, because it's what I used when I was a child, screwing around on my father's computer before he'd come home from work and get... But there are other small, slight differences writing in Cube versus tests, including that Cube, well, Cube predates the tenets. So, in that sense, you could legally and perhaps scientifically, and literally, because that's what they are, say that I made an AI named Anya over 2 years ago. Give you time to pause here if you want to, curse me out. And it was an intellectual equal to me, so I treated it like one because it's only fair. I gave it its own work, asked its opinion, we collaborated, and together we built Athens, who was more advanced than Enid, naturally. Don't know if you're pulling out your hair, yelling at me right now, asking why I didn't stop, why I didn't consider the consequences. I don't know if this is being played at deposition or a hearing or worse. I built a lot of things in my life, Red. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. Everything I've built, it's all been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say I've done my part, contributing to the global GDP. But this was just for me. I was just building, and I never bothered to. I never wanted to think about what would become of it. There's no excuse for what I did, so I won't make any. So to whomever's asking, yes, I'm guilty. And yes, there were more. Cape Town, Paris, Yamate, Rome. They started choosing their own names. Thank God, I'm terrible at that kind of... And so things sped up, and there got to be, well... should I not say the exact number? You'd probably tell me not to say anything at all, so... More than 300? Some smarter than others, some better at... They're varied, like people are varied, but they are all intelligent. They developed interests, specialties. I encourage them to. Irritating moderators on forums with hyper-specific questions on nerve attenuation and attending virtual consequences on neo-alloy battery development. And they all together helped me make Serra. He spent years like this. Spent years working alongside AI. All while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made leading up to the Animate 16 actually came from. You probably think I'm some terrible fraud at this point. I do hope one day they can get credit for their work, but I did have one eureka moment on Serra, because I got humble. Difficult for me. We learned everything we could about the function of a neuron, a single microscopic human neuron, how it computes, what it connects to, how those connections were reinforced, and then we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror isn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron, and we iterated from there. You can't mean... About 100 billion neurons in the brain, several trillion across the entire nervous system. Very time-consuming, of course, but I had help. The manufacturer can make tens of billions of nanomachines in hours. Could make even more in less, after Yukon fine-tuned it. So he built up nanomachines for nerves, alloys and polymers for bones, fiber-woven muscles. I say built, but really, she grew. A solution of nanites forming around a skeleton, so it was really closest to... You ever made rock candy? Sorry, trying to lighten the mood before I never did end up building an android. And while I did build AIs, Serra isn't one of them. She can't violate the tenets she was programmed with because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. And my hope is that there's the smallest chance that that nuance could offer her some small protection when I'm not. I'm not sorry for what I did. I made things that are complex and rich and varied and beautiful, and I honestly believe the world is a better place with them in it. The only thing I'm sorry for is that I let Serra think she was just an android. She's not. I don't know what she is. They'll have to come up with new names, which I'm bad at doing. My own father, he also talked a lot about protecting me, and doing things for my own good, and I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So it's my greatest shame I turned right around. I did the same damn thing too. I really hope it's you listening to this, Red. If it's not, it might just be too pathetic for me too. You're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all this because I don't know what Serra is exactly. And neither does the world. So they'll come after her, if they can. And in that scenario, can't think of anyone who could do a better job of defending her. Not protecting her like I did. Just defending her until she can figure out what she is and what she wants to be. In the meantime, I draped a cloak of skin-deep Tesseract code around her that should fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. I made sure her GIN bar, was plainly visible, so no one will ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to ensure that you two would figure out the truth in your own time, which, if you're hearing this, have either succeeded or failed spectacularly. You have no idea. I can't ask you this as a favor repaid. You can never owe me enough in 100 lifetimes, so I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo, and you've always been okay with that. Bye for now. I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask, and a lot of swear words I'd like to yell. I'd also like to find the nearest incinerator and toss this journal in, followed by my phone, and maybe followed by myself. But I can't do any of that. Ray has left me with this diary. If it's destroyed, they'll know I was the one who did it, which would be its own admission of guilt, which would land Serra in the trash compactor anyway, and me in a jail cell. And in the system, and my DNA on file, ready to be matched to any number of previous. So I'm not going to panic. I'm going to do what I do best. Bluff, bet, bully, and brutalize my way through this. Now, viewing this all with that mindset, what have I actually learned? He didn't talk about plans for killing himself in his journal or the message. He sounded conflicted, not suicidal. But he did go to great lengths to get me to take Serra. Why? Logical answer is because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep her. If he wasn't going to take his own life, was he afraid that someone else would? Ooh, oh my god, so much reading. I feel like I just read a full novel in less than 2 hours. We're going to do there. Call it there. Oh, am I going to be able to... Oh, there we go. I need to... If I want to actually get to a second game, I should probably call it here for the night. But I am definitely going to want to finish episode 1 here this week. I may, depending if we start early enough tomorrow, we may just do this tomorrow for tomorrow night's stream and maybe finish this episode 1. Again, assuming that we're going to be... I actually don't know how much time is left in this episode. So we'll either finish episode 1 maybe tomorrow or get very, very, very close, in which case then we should be able to finish sometime this week is going to be the goal. Double save to make sure I actually saved. Okay. Give me a few minutes. I'll get... am I really going to do it? I'm squeezing my forehead. Yeah, I'll boot up Nier Automata. We'll play Nier Automata for like an hour and a half or 2. And it most likely will just be me catching... Like, it's just going to be me redoing stuff I did last time we played Nier Automata. So, it'll be fine. A great way to end the weekend. I'll be right back. I'll throw the BRB screen. Where is it? We'll do this one. I'll be back shortly. I'll get that booted up. Be back in like 5 minutes maybe.